I was like, and they called me about the
Wait, I'm
meeting.
live now.
Oh yeah,
You wanna-
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Harry. I think we still got 3 minutes, but I didn't want you to say nothing
Yeah, no,
that
it's
you
okay.
didn't want to be on live.
Oh no, everything I say is yeah. I tell people I don't do secrets.
Hey, I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. I'm a fan of the truth, so
Yeah.
take it or don't.
Yeah, I know that's right. I know that's right.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you on here. You have
That's
not,
okay.
in 2 years, you have not been on the show.
I have not. I have not.
You starting already? See, that's what they do.
That's
They
good
start
stuff. I
2
like
minutes
that.
early.
Yeah, that's
The fans, they don't tune in
professional.
until 12 on the dot.
That's on them though. We, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Woo!
I don't need headphones though.
Mm-mm.
Okay, good.
I know you better get amped up.
Oh, shoot, what you talking about? I woke up like that.
I didn't. I'm barely making
Yeah,
it.
no, like 5 a.m. for me. No, they done a bunch of stuff already. So, usually my Saturdays are just me. So.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Amped Up. I am your host, Erica Denise. And guess what, y'all? Say what? Ah, come on, Dave.
What?
It's,
Erica?
it's my birthday.
Yes, sir.
Yay!
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you
Happy
so
birthday
much.
to you.
Okay, we don't want you to sing.
And you don't want me to
You
sing. You really don't. No, that's real. That's serious. That's dead
I don't
serious.
think you got that gift.
I do not have that gift.
Thank you, though. But I'm amped up because I made it to
Yes.
41. To God be the glory.
Amen. For real.
To God be the glory. And I woke up today late, let me say that first, but also with a new perspective and a new lease on life.
Okay.
And you know, my brother and my sister have both passed away, both under the age of 46. And I'm like, you know what? I am going to live. That's my mom and mine. That's our new mantra. We're just going to live.
That's real.
We're going to live. My mom retired.
Really? For real? For real?
She like, for real. After 37 years in nursing, she has retired.
We'll wait. People say that. We'll wait and see what happens.
No, she's done.
No, I mean, well, we'll see.
Well, from nursing. Now, I don't know if she's going to go and do something else, but nursing is done.
Right.
Yeah, we did a whole video and everything where she hung up her scrubs for the last time. Yeah. She's going to enjoy her life. You know, and I think that is what it's about. If you have the health and strength in your body while you can,
for real.
Do what you want to do. You know what I mean? Follow your heart, live your dreams, and do what you want to do. And so you all, we're just going to jump right into this because normally I'll go through the what's going on at Amped, but we have Amped here himself, Mr. Amped. Okay. Mr. Amp, the man with the plan, is here. And Dave, I know you get a little long-winded sometimes.
Yes.
But
so we ain't got 30
we ain't got but 30 minutes.
That's real. Throw up the sign, because
So I want everybody to know who you are. Okay. And we all know about all of the wonderful things that you have done within the community. But following your dreams and following your passion is something that you have been able to do. If you open up the dictionary and you look up passionate, Dave's picture is there.
That's sweet. Thank you.
If you open the dictionary and look up trailblazer, your picture will be there. Like, seriously.
It's your birthday. Come on now.
It is my birthday. But no, I'm serious. And I have to tell this story.
Thank you.
I met you almost 10 years ago.
Yes.
In 2014. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
10 years ago.
I didn't realize that.
Yes. It'll be 10 years in July of 24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the encounter. It just didn't seem like it was 10 years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years ago. And you came into the Louisville Central Community Center. And I'm going to always tell this story. Okay. And you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed young man.
still wet behind the ears.
Still wet behind the ears. Didn't know what you was doing. I'm just playing.
Did not have a clue. Hey, that's real talk, though. But didn't have a clue. I didn't know anything about nonprofit. I promise you.
Nothing, right?
No.
And you were looking for a space. You were just looking for a space to start Amped.
Yeah.
And you came through Louisville Central Community Center, and I gave you a tour of the facility because that was a place you were looking at. And you were just telling me about what this program was going to be about.
Yeah.
It was just an idea. And now look what you have been able to do.
Yeah.
Like that
God,
gives me.
God. Yeah,
Come
go
on,
ahead.
God. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. God gets all the credit and the glory. And I love that you always mention God
Oh, for sure.
because we need to know and be clear who's doing this and who's
Right.
orchestrating this.
Yeah, I ain't foolish enough to be taking God's glory.
Listen.
Like you shut me down. I'm like, look, I'm just a vessel, baby. I promise you. Like,
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
No.
But being obedient to the
Mhm.
call that was obviously on your life.
Yeah.
Has been able to change so many other people's trajectories in their lives. So, how did you even come up with the idea? Let's start for Amped,
Mhm.
and then how did it transition into the business incubator and the tech innovation center and all of the things?
Okay, so the quick version.
Okay,
Throw up,
yes,
throw up
quick
the, throw up the
version.
sign when Dave goes home. But no, I mean, in 2014, actually, I was really just trying to help a friend out because I'm what people refer to as a serial entrepreneur. I sincerely love starting business. I love talking about them and the idea of them and seeing them grow. So I was like, okay, well, I'll start a business to support this other nonprofit. And I personally didn't know anything about nonprofits, and so I was going to start this business. And it ended up being a recording studio.
Level 7.
It was level 7 recording
Mhm.
studio, yeah. And so I was like, okay, you keep all the profits, I will just keep enough to keep it going, and that'll be that. But then in 2014, we had some issues with young people just kind of running wild and just doing stuff that kids do. And so we came up with we came up with the AMP program, and literally, like, I mean, I'll tell the story, and this is as quick as you can tell it. It happened in 3 days. I was driving to Indianapolis. The word AMP came to my mind. I played with the letters. I came up with Academy of Music Production, Education, and Development. I came home that night. I designed the logo. The next day, I built the website. That was on Wednesday. Thursday, I built the website. Friday, I called the IRS, got a tax ID, printed out some cards, some business cards and banners, and showed up at this space. And that was it.
And you were in business.
Yeah, because I tell people this too, and this is part of the story, is that I think we think ourselves out of stuff, right?
Yep.
And so I feel like if you have something that you believe is given to you, because people say this all the time, and I'm not discounting people's conversations with God. The God put this on my heart. Okay, then what are you pausing for?
Yeah.
That whole idea of like what God has for me is for me. You need to run with that, right?
Yeah.
Because He will make provisions. He always makes provisions.
Always makes provisions. And I know when you're doing God's work, it's like all the stars will line up, like
sure.
all the pieces of the puzzle will line up, and it'll feel like it's seamless. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just coasting through, like all the doors are just magically opening. And when I know that it's not of God, there's always constant struggle, like or what's the word?
Obstacles.
Pushback. Yeah.
Well, but I'll say this though too, is that sometimes even when it's God's word, you get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's sometimes the problem. It's not even like it's not seamless. It's that and everybody has doubt. I ain't gonna lie. Like I doubt like a lot of stuff, right? I'm worried, but I move forward because I think the whole idea of like how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time.
My mama says that.
Right, it's real, right? And so like if you worried about what's gonna happen tomorrow, and you ain't figured out what you're gonna do today, right? And so I think sometimes even when it's God's will, when God literally put it on your heart, you're afraid of it because you gotta get into a place where you understand you will not know what God's will is.
Yeah.
You will only know when you get there. Like you'll know that what worked out and it gave glory to God. That's all you'll know.
Mm-hmm.
But like you won't know necessarily in the moment. Like I didn't always know when I'm trying to figure out how to move money to keep this thing open and like almost losing our house, like the whole thing, right? Like I didn't know. And so, but I felt like if this is what God has for me, then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like it drives people nuts. Like my staff specifically, like when I say, oh, it's gonna be fine, we'll be all right. They're like, okay, but how do you know that?
Right. Because you just know.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Like you said you almost lost your house. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Because at the time, I was taking care of my sister. She had a stroke and she was in a nursing home. And she had her home, and so I was trying to make sure that her stuff was, because I really believed, and she's passed away since, but I really believed that she was going to come out of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want her to come out of that and have lost all her things, or her house, her car, all her stuff going on. So I was trying to juggle that. I was trying to juggle my home and my family, and I was trying to juggle I had a tech business at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was like all these things. I was probably putting out easily between $15,000 to $20,000 a month, just trying to keep everything.
And this is your personal money?
My personal money, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the issue. Was like at the time, like I said, I didn't know anything really about nonprofit. It was it was Susan Berry who actually said to me one day. She said, "Dave, you need some money." I go, "Yeah, you're absolutely right." She goes, "Do you have a 501c3?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." Like, so I wasn't raising money. Like I was literally like transferring money from one account to another account, like trying just to make payroll and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so this was 10 years ago, and you are saying that you didn't even know what a 501c3 was.
Mm-hmm.
And now just 10 years later, and I say just because that feels like it was just
Yeah, it's
yesterday.
not a long time.
That is not a long time. And to see what you have been able to do is just completely mind-boggling and mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And you, of course, we know it ain't nothing but God,
Yeah,
but it
for
gives
real.
me so much inspiration because I saw
Mhm.
what you did. I'm seeing you. You know what I'm saying? And it just gives me hope that things are possible, that it is possible to live out your dreams. So now you've done AMPed, right? It is one of the premier youth programs in the city, right? You've raised all kinds of money. You've got locations. You still have is it 3 locations now
We
or
have
2?
no, it's actually it'll be 4 when we build the Tech Training Center. So we have
Okay.
Greenwood location. We have the 25th and Broadway. We're at 17th and in Jefferson. I mean, 12th and Jefferson, and we'll be soon at 17th and Market.
Okay.
And then we're also going to have a recording studio in the new Baxter Community Center at Beecher Terrace.
Nice. Listen, he just ran them all down. We're going to talk about all of that. How did the idea for the incubator come? And so, for those that don't know, it is the Russell Business Tech Incubator.
Yeah, Russell Technology Business Incubator.
Okay, Russell Technology Business Incubator. I've been saying it the opposite way.
It's okay. Everybody does it. And actually, real quick, the name was a mistake because it was supposed to be Russell Technology and Business Incubator, and I kept not putting the "and" in, and it just became the RTBI.
Right.
And I was like, "Well, it's too late now."
Hey, run with it. That's what it was supposed to be. Yeah. So, quick story about that RTBI. I remember when it launched, right? And you know, there's in 2021, there's a paywall on some articles on social media. So I think you had a write-up about it in the Courier Journal. And I had already read my articles for the month, so I couldn't see it. I couldn't read it, the article, but I remember calling you. And I said, Dave, everybody's congratulating you about something. I don't know what they're congratulating you for because I can't see the article. Tell me what you just did. And you were like, yeah, I just started this business incubator, da 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 da. And then after you told me what it was, you were like, you want to be in it? You remember that? And I think you gave me like the last spot.
Yeah.
And I was able to get into the first cohort. You can't do that now, and it's a whole application process. But I'm just I think that's favor though. I think that is God orchestrating things and knowing what is supposed to happen. Yeah. Because I was supposed to be in that first cohort, because being an entrepreneur and going through that year-long process absolutely changed the way I do business. Good. It elevated me, gave me a little bit of clout. Gave me a network that I am still pulling on from people that I met then, people that you introduced me to. I'm still in contact with my business coach, Angelique Johnson.
Amazing,
Absolutely amazing. You helped me to clear up my tax situation. I almost went to jail.
Well, you keep saying
I'm just playing. Well, the business, yes.
Yeah, we.
Yes,
yeah,
we.
I always, and that's the other thing that's really important to me is that people understand, and I appreciate all the kind of things that people say about me. And the things that we're doing, but like the fact is, I have amazing people around me.
You do.
Sincerely have
you really do.
People. Yeah.
You have an amazing team of knowledgeable people
that care. They care first.
Yes.
They care first, and then they're also knowledgeable. Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us how that came about.
Actually, RTBI came about because I was mad.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. Like in 2020 during the pandemic, like. I was just reading articles about like Black business ownership and development and that kind of thing, and it just, I mean, a lot of stuff was like I think that was the year where we were given permission to cry and curse, and so like I did a lot of crying, a lot of cursing, but like I was looking at the numbers, and it was like 2.6% of businesses were minority owned, but when we broke it down, only 0.08% of them were Black owned businesses, and that didn't make sense to me because I don't know if people know the history of Russell neighborhood specifically and Louisville, Kentucky, that it was known as the Harlem of the South. Right, that there were successful Black-owned businesses all up and down Chestnut and like
Walnut Street,
Walnut Street, right, all that, right, and because of urban renewal, or what a former mayor referred to it as Negro removal, right, they literally bulldozed down those buildings.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at like the fact, looking at banking and all the things, and I asked myself, I said, what is it in all the years that I've been doing business, having these different businesses, what is it that I wish I had that I feel like would have helped me be successful? And my answer was literally like everything. Access to fair capital. When I say fair capital, to be able to go into a bank and get a good interest rate, get the amount of money you need to be successful, just like other folks that don't look like us do. Having reliable networks, and that's not saying, okay, I can connect to white people and I'm just saying reliable networks within our own community that we can sort of trade these resources and opportunities and stuff with. We didn't have that education, understanding the foundation of how do you run a business, understanding pricing strategies and all those kinds of things, right? And how to read your P&L, et cetera, et cetera. So I just started writing the document. And here's what's crazy about it: I didn't write it to actually do anything
P&L,
with
profit and loss.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I didn't write my plan, the plan that I came up with for the incubator. I didn't write it to fund it. I wrote it because I was mad and I needed to get it out of my head, right? And it was 5 pages, then it was 10 pages, then it was 7, and I actually sent it out to friends because I don't know why I wanted this plan to be perfect. Not that I even thought it was crazy. Not that I even thought I would ever use it. I sent it out to friends. Take a look at this and tell me what you think. If you find a hole in it, fill the hole for me. But what they did instead, and I didn't know this, they were actually sending it to other people. And the first call I got was from Rockefeller Foundation.
Shut up.
Right? Because somebody called me, was like, hey, Rockefeller Foundation wants to know if you could talk to, they got a copy of your plan and was interested in, maybe supporting it. Then Young Brands called. Then US Bank called. Then Brown, it was all these, I literally called none of the people that funded the first year. In less than 9 months, I'd raised $3.5 million to launch this business incubator that I never had any intention of doing anything with.
Wow.
Right. But it was because I've been in business for a lot of years. I won't date myself, but for a lot of years, and I learned a lot of things. But I realized that a lot of Black businesses they would have the ability to be successful because in Oklahoma, here, I knew that we could do it. But it was somehow we were conditioned that that's not how it works. So that we only remember, I do think I always say is stop asking for what you think you can get and ask for what you need.
What you need, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the sort of the sort of, I'm going to use the word brainwashing, but the sort of conditioning that people were given, Black businesses were given, and that's why they weren't succeeding because they didn't have a big enough runway. As if all these other businesses that are not Black somehow just ran smoothly, and they don't. They had ups and downs too, but they had this financial runway. I tell people this all the time. It frustrates me when I hear Black businesses say, I'm really trying to figure this out. And you've heard me say this. I'm trying to figure this out. No, you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You just don't have the resources to do it consistently. And if we can figure that out, then, look at some of the businesses that have come out of the incubator, right? Hundreds of businesses that have gone through and are doing well. And that's not just because of us, because I tell people all the time is AMP is about providing resources. We don't take credit for the work you do. Right. We can give you all this stuff and you do nothing with it, then you do nothing with it, right? But at least if we give it to you, then we can, it's up to you from that point.
Exactly. So one of the things that RTBI does for Black and Brown business owners is you highlight the need to see a therapist or talk to somebody. Mental health is very important. Why did you make sure that everybody had access to seeing a counselor? Why was that so important?
The example I use is if you're banging your head against the wall, just like bangs against a brick wall, you keep banging your head against the brick wall. And I say to you, Erica, why are you banging your head against the brick wall? And your response is, what wall? It's I know you're dealing with trauma. Yeah. But we don't know that we're dealing with trauma. When we put the mental health piece in there, people are why did you say? I'm no, I know that as a Black businessman, a Black business owner, right? All the years I've dealt with a lot of rejection, a lot of disappointment, a lot of sadness, a lot of racism, a lot of things, right? That I just internalized. I just we talk don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it, you'll be fine, right? Until you can deal with that, the whole idea of settling, the whole idea of I don't want to be greedy, that's they drive me crazy. We talk about this all the time. Yeah. You want to get prices that people will pay. Yeah, that's a trauma. No, you should have a price that thing is worth and what it's valued at, because otherwise you'll never grow. Absolutely. Right. And so all that mental health piece is we gotta clear your mind first, because I can give you all the knowledge in the world. If you still dealing with those hidden pains and things that you deal with, you ain't going nowhere. Exactly. You're just gonna keep repeating the same stuff. You're gonna keep letting people take your stuff for nothing. Yeah. You're gonna be afraid to believe that you can speak out for yourself, because it's all these things that you have to deal with, and even personal trauma, stuff that we don't even know you're dealing with. Because I know when we first offered it, people didn't even want to they didn't want to do the evaluation, and because we can't make you do it. But then a week later, people call them. So how many sessions can we do? Right. How often can we go? You know what I mean? Yes. Because you realize how important it is. Absolutely. It is definitely important. And I'll tell you, you cannot run a business if your mind is not there. Period.
You just can't do it.
Because what are you using to run your business?
Exactly.
Your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have seen, or we've all seen the glory, and we've seen all the things that you have done. But what people don't realize is that starting a business, being a CEO, an executive director, a founder, is not easy.
No, not at all.
Okay, just because you can bake a cake don't mean that you should open a
That part.
bakery.
That part.
You know what I mean? So what are some of the struggles that you have gone through as a founder, business owner, CEO?
I mean, probably the biggest part, I mean, the thing that I struggle with, like, is just getting people to change their way of thinking. I mean, the obvious stuff like the racism you see and, like, you know, and how you walk into a room. I tell this story just the other day. It was like, if I had $1 for every time a white man tried to give me advice, I'd be really, 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 really rich. Because you walk into the room and it's assumed that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I have a lady, and here, I can actually say she meant well. But she didn't realize how ridiculous what she said sounded. She said, "I'm so surprised at your business acumen." I was like, why are you so surprised? And so those sort of like microaggressions and those things, right? So that's what you do from that side, right? But then on the other side of that is the community that we serve, the struggle sometimes trying to get them to believe, and rightfully so, right? Because you've been lied to so much. You've been told that this is going to be something, and it turns out to be nothing, right? And it's never about getting you to completion, which is all of our programs are about getting you to completion. Probably the struggle for me really is, because I tell people, and this is going to sound really crazy, but I say it, and I say it without hesitation, is that money is the easy part. Right? It really is. Like, money is the easy part, because I can go out there, and if I'm doing something that's worth, you know, supporting, then people will support it. And I think if people don't understand that what you have, what has value, people will pay for, as long as you let them understand what the value of it is.
Absolutely.
And the problem is that we have these things that have value, right? And we let people decide what that value is.
Yeah.
Like artists, specifically, like, okay, you do a painting or you write a song, and then you tell people how much that's worth. No, you can't tell me how much that's worth.
Right.
Right? I've decided how much that's worth. You have to decide whether you want to pay it or not.
Yeah. Right.
So getting our kids and our adults and our people in all our different programs understanding that you deserve it all, right? That you ain't, nobody's doing you a favor by supporting you, right? That you're giving them something of value, and they're paying for that.
So you have four buildings now, or AmTest four locations. Yeah. 4 locations. How do you go about getting a location? How does that even work?
You know what's funny about that is, like, so let me say this first, right? Everybody doesn't need a building.
Okay.
Get that out of your head. Because here's the crazy part about the whole idea that people need buildings, right? Is they think that a building makes you legitimate. The building doesn't make you legitimate. The building makes you broke. Like, for real, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not ready for a building, and you want a building because you want people to walk in it, but you can't pay the rent every month. You can't pay the utilities. Why are you doing that? Let me tell you how my very first business started. The first business here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Was that Level 7?
No, that was my tech business. I had a company called, originally it was Tech Louisville, and then I changed it to Technical Solutions because I had companies, I had business all around the country. So I had because Tech Louisville was too local, so I changed it to Technical Solutions. My business started in my basement in the storage room. In a space so small, I had to move the desk to get in behind it. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I needed to meet somebody, I would either go to them or I'd take them out to a restaurant or to a coffee shop or whatever, because I could not afford a space, and I didn't need a space. But we out here because we like, oh, if I got a brick and mortar, I got a sign outside. Look,
and you can't even afford
it, but you can take pictures of it. You know what I mean?
For Instagram.
And look, real quick, while I'm throwing stuff out there, right? Stop doing all these dang photo shoots. Stop posting. Come on, y'all. Them photographers getting rich off y'all. Y'all ain't making, like, you look like you $1 million company
and ain't doing nothing.
And you laid on the payment for them flyers.
Listen, I thought that was a shot to me because I've been doing a whole lot of photo shoots lately.
Well,
was that a shot?
No, but a shot to you. You too.
No, I'm just actually a model.
All right. Well, see now.
As a brand ambassador,
I don't know your business like that.
No, as a brand ambassador for somebody that came out of the incubator for Canadian.
No, not Canadian. No, yeah. I'm not taking shots.
Just playing.
I'm not taking shots at anybody for real. But like somebody said, don't go broke trying to look rich.
There you go.
Like, stop doing that. Stop. Be wise with your money. Like, understand what it is you need to be doing. Figure
Absolutely.
out. Like, and I gotta say this is like, figure out what your stuff really costs, right? Like, I know people that have been in business for years and have been literally paying to go to be in business, which means that they're losing more money than they're making. They're going in their pocket to keep their business going, and the business should be taking care of you.
Absolutely.
Because you doing photo shoots, you giving away stuff, you ain't counting all the toothpicks.
And I think that social media culture is like, we got to put this content out there, and so I need to have the best pictures and the best, photo ops and all of that kind of stuff. I think that's where that comes from.
And there are people getting rich off that, and no shade to the people that's doing the work. If you call me up and ask me to take a picture, I promise you I'll take it. So I ain't throwing shade on them, but I'm just saying, get yourself in position to do those things, right? Make that make sense, right? And here's the thing: social media ain't necessarily all it is, right? Like, we think of, because I hear this all the time when people say, "Well, if I could just get somebody to do my social media or do marketing for me," like no, figure out what your product is, like, your product is about, and make sure people understand the value of your product.
Right. So your dad had some very wise words.
Yes.
Is this Jasper?
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah.
And he told you, if no one will hire you, hire yourself.
Then hire yourself. Yes.
And those are some wise words. And I love that you even put it up on the wall in the AMPS building on Jefferson. So what do those words mean for you?
He said that to me when I was 12 years old. And I tell people, like, I didn't even know, because my parents were disabled when I was a kid. And so, like, my father had bad back surgery, had stomach cancer, diabetes. He was 48 years old when I was born, so he was older and whatever. So he couldn't get a job. Like, nobody would hire him. And so, but he went out every day in the condition he was in, and he made stuff happen. It didn't always work. We didn't always eat. We didn't have like a bunch of stuff, right? But he made it work. What I didn't realize when he told me that was, since that day, I've never been afraid of not having a job.
Yes.
The caveat to that statement is, are you a good employee? Right? If I say hire myself, would I hire me?
Come on.
That's the part, right? So so what it means to me is, you're, by God's grace, you're not tied to anybody else other than yourself. Like, what you do and how you do it is based on what you're willing to do for it. And by that I don't believe in that do anything necessary. That's garbage. Because, like, I tell people, maybe I don't want to do it that way. I'm about truth, honesty, and God, right? So I'm like, there's some stuff I ain't gonna do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I ain't no by any means guy, right? It's like, y'all keep that. Like, I'm not by me. There's a book called David L. Stewart called Doing Business by the Good Book. My son bought me this book years ago, and it's like 28 biblical principles on how to run your business. And I'd stay true to that, because the truth is that you can be successful in business. This guy has the third largest technology company called Worldwide Technology, third largest black guy, not largest black technology, third largest technology company in the country called Worldwide Technology, and wrote that book. And there's stories in there about how you can, and it's true. Like, when people say, I'm telling you, when somebody says to you, "Oh, well, it's just business run," because what they basically said, "I'm gonna rob you."
Exactly.
And don't take it, and don't be mad because I robbed you.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good. What is next for Dave Christopher?
I can't say, because my staff might get mad. They tell me I need to stop and sit down somewhere.
God.
No, I'm just playing. So I know the one thing for sure, and this is not new. Like I want our program. I want AMP to be national, and so we're working on that, talking about like doing some pilots in some other cities and states, right? Just to grow like our budget and our reach, and not for the sake of growing, but for the sake of like you said, like the RTBI, there's a waiting list for that. Our music program is a waiting list for that. Our technology training program is a waiting list for that. Just to build more capacity. Like, we went from and I tell the people this, and I say this proudly, we went from a 23,000 annual budget in 2014 to just recently a $4.1 million budget. So. But that grew that way because out of need, right? I tell people we're solving big problems, and it requires a lot. And so just, amplouisville.org, drop your dimes.
I love it. I'll tell you that God has his hand on you and your organization and all of the things that you've been able to do. And I will continue to say it like you, the company, I'm not going to keep saying you,
okay,
but the company that you've helped to build has been very instrumental in a lot of people's lives. And I think that is what's so important about following what it is that God's telling you to do, because you don't know whose destiny is tied to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So the longer that you wait, you're potentially holding up somebody else, or somebody else is going to do what God told you to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to be sitting around looking crazy.
You
Like,
don't
dang.
need us. You don't
Right.
need us.
Exactly.
Like I'm blessed to be a vessel. And
Exactly.
I had a friend that said years ago, it won't come to you if it can't go through you.
Come on. I love that. I thank you for everything that you have done for Erica Denise. I really appreciate you being my friend.
Yes, right on.
Yes. Everybody can't just call Dave's phone. I thank you for always answering the phone and just for all the opportunities that you've given me. Before we get out of here, we only have 1 minute. What advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs?
Trust God.
Trust God.
Trust God for it all. Trust God for it all. Do the work. Trust God. Like, I mean, not blindly. There's some things you'll have to do, like, and recognize opportunities. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Because it's going to work if it's supposed to work.
Absolutely.
The fact that if it's yours, it's yours. God has for you. So don't hide your ideas.
Yeah.
Because can't nobody take what God can't nobody give you what God didn't want you to have, and can't nobody take from you what God has for you. So
there you go.
Yeah.
3 questions, real quick, rapid fire. Don't think too hard about it. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Who is your hero?
My parents.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
To heaven.
Glory!
I really mean that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And if you could be anybody in the world, who would you be?
Me.
Yes, good answer. Y'all, we'll be back next week, same time, same station. Bye. Thank you, Dave.
Happy birthday. Man.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Let me turn this off.